My name is Brooks Merrick, and I fix things for a living. Broken pipes, cracked foundations, rotted beams, you name it, I can repair it. What I couldn't fix was my marriage, but I didn't know that yet as I sat in my pickup truck outside the Riverside Motel at 11:30 on a Tuesday night. The headlight housing hung loose from where I'd clipped a pothole earlier. I was wrestling with the wiring when my phone buzzed. Bank alert, hotel charge, $97. Problem was, my wife Lana was supposed to be in Chicago for a legal conference. The charge came from right here in town. Yeah, and I'm the Pope's pool boy, I muttered, squinting at the screen. The Riverside Motel earned its nickname, the Dirty, honestly. Peeling paint, broken neon sign, the kind of place where you paid cash and didn't ask questions. Lana's silver BMW sat in the parking lot, engine still ticking as it cooled. I walked to the office, bell jangling overhead. The desk clerk looked like he'd been marinated in cigarette smoke for decades. His nameplate read, Earl. Help you? Earl asked, not looking up from his magazine. Room registered to Lana Merrick. What room? Now he looked up, studying me with yellow eyes. Can't give out that information, pal. I slapped a 20 on the counter. Can now? Earl palmed the bill. 12, but you didn't hear it from me. I started toward the stairs, but Earl cleared his throat. Wouldn't go up there if I were you. Ladies got company. Important company. How important? Kellan Varron important. The name hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. Kellan Varron, the sleazeball who owned 3 car dealerships and half the commercial real estate in town. The same guy who'd been undercutting my construction bids for 2 years, spreading rumors about my work quality, making my life miserable at every turn. Thanks for the tip, I said, heading outside. I waited in my truck, engine off, windows cracked. 20 minutes later, the door to room 12 opened. Lana stepped out first, smoothing her skirt, followed by Kellan in his expensive suit. They talked quietly, his hand on her lower back, her laughing at something he whispered. My wife of 8 years, laughing with my worst enemy. They walked to Kellan's black Mercedes. He opened her door like a gentleman, kissed her cheek, then got in his own side. I watched the taillights disappear into the night. I sat there for another 10 minutes, letting it sink in. Then I got out, walked to where the Mercedes had been parked, and keyed a message into the asphalt with a loose chunk of concrete. Homewrecker was here. My phone buzzed as I climbed back into my truck. Text from an unknown number. You really want to make this public, Brooks? Small towns are like echo chambers. Whispers become shouts, rumors become facts, and secrets become currency. By Thursday morning, half of Millfield knew something was up between the Merricks. Mrs. Pennington, my 70-year-old neighbor with the telescopic eyes and satellite ears, cornered me while I loaded tools into my truck. Brooks, honey, I hope everything's all right with you and Lana. I saw her come home awfully late Tuesday night. Everything's fine, Mrs. P. Just work stuff. She nodded, but her expression said she wasn't buying it. Well, if you need anything, you know where to find me. Inside the house, Lana sat at the kitchen table with her laptop and coffee, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. She'd been giving me the ice treatment since Tuesday night, speaking only when necessary. We need to talk, I said. About what? She didn't look up from her screen. About Kellan Varron, about the Riverside Motel, about the $97 charge on our joint account. Her fingers stopped typing. You've been spying on me. I've been paying attention. There's a difference. She finally looked at me, and her expression was colder than January in Maine. You're paranoid, Brooks, and frankly, you're embarrassing yourself. Am I? Because from where I sit, it looks like you're the one doing the embarrassing. Lana slammed the laptop shut. I don't have time for your insecurities. Some of us have real careers to worry about. She grabbed her briefcase and headed for the door. I'll be working late tonight. Don't wait up. Friday evening, The annual Millfield Community Fund dinner packed the VFW hall. I almost stayed home, but something stubborn in me refused to hide. I put on my best shirt and walked in alone. Lana sat at table 6 with the other lawyers and their spouses. Kellan was there too, having bought his way onto the planning committee. They weren't sitting together, but I caught the glances, the subtle smiles, the way she laughed just a little too hard at his jokes. During the silent auction, Kellan approached me at the bar. "Brooks, good to see you, buddy. How's business? Lana mentioned you've been a little slow lately." His smile was all teeth, no warmth. I wanted to grab him by his silk tie and introduce his face to the bar rail, but I had a better idea. "Business is great, Kellan. In fact, I just landed a big contract. Renovation work on the Riverside Motel. You know the place? The Dirty? Funny thing about that job, I get to see all the guest records. Amazing what people charge on their credit cards these days." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. His smile faltered. "I wouldn't know anything about that." "Course not. Why would you? I mean, it's not like you've ever been there or anything." I walked away, leaving him standing at the bar with his mouth hanging open. Later, during the speeches, I found myself at the podium. I hadn't planned it, but when they called for community volunteers, I stood up. "I'd like to say something about loyalty," I began, looking directly at table 6. "About what it means to stand by the people who trust you, to honor your commitments, to not stab folks in the back while smiling to their faces." The room grew quiet. Lana's face went pale. Some people in this town think they can play games with other people's lives, think they can take what doesn't belong to them. But here's the thing about small towns. Secrets don't stay secret for long, and when the truth comes out, well, let's just say karma has a way of settling accounts. I stepped down to scattered applause and confused murmurs. Lana was gone when I looked back at table 6, but Kellan remained, his face red with anger. Saturday morning brought rain and a knock at my door. Officer Dempsey stood on my porch, looking uncomfortable. "Morning, Brooks. Got a complaint about vandalism at Varron's dealership. Someone trashed one of his demo cars Thursday night. Shrimp shells in the air vents, coffee grounds in the gas tank, real creative stuff." "That is creative. Any leads?" "Security camera caught someone, but the footage is pretty grainy. Kellan seems to think you might know something about it." I shook my head. "I was at Murphy's bar Thursday night. Ask Mick. He'll vouch for me." Which was true. What Dempsey didn't need to know was that I'd made sure to establish that alibi before paying Jimmy Kowalski $50 to do the actual dirty work. "I'll check with Mick," Dempsey said. "But Brooks, whatever's going on between you and Varron, keep it legal." After he left, I called my old Army buddy Jake, who now worked in corporate investigations. I'd been thinking about this since Tuesday night, and it was time to get serious. "I need everything you can find on Kellan Varron," I told him. "Business dealings, personal life, financial records, the works." "This gonna get me in trouble?" "Only if you get caught, and you're too good for that." Jake laughed. "Give me a week." Monday afternoon, Lana came home early, which was unusual. She found me in my workshop, building a birdhouse for Mrs. Pennington. "We need to talk," she said. "Now you want to talk? What changed?" She sat on my workbench, trying to look casual. "I think someone's been in my office. Files moved, computer acting strange. I think someone planted something to make me look bad." I kept sanding. "Why would anyone do that?" "Because of your little speech Friday night. People are talking, Brooks. My reputation is at stake." "Your reputation?" I set down the sandpaper. "That's what you're worried about?" "My career is everything to me, you know that." "I thought our marriage was everything to you. Silly me." She slid off the workbench. "I'm not having this conversation with you when you're being unreasonable." "Unreasonable? Lana, I saw you with him. At the motel, Tuesday night. For a moment, her mask slipped. I saw fear flash across her face before the ice returned. You're paranoid and delusional, and if you keep spreading these lies, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man you really are. She stormed out, leaving me alone with my tools and my thoughts. But she'd made a mistake. She'd confirmed my suspicions about someone planting evidence, which meant she was planning to frame me for something. Time to get proactive. Jake's report arrived Wednesday morning, and it was better than Christmas. Kellan Varron had been busy. Shell companies, inflated contracts, unpaid subcontractors, and a paper trail that led straight to tax evasion and fraud. But the real goldmine was personal. Photos of Kellan with 3 different women over the past 6 months, including my wife. I made copies of everything and mailed them to 3 people: the State Contractor Licensing Board, Kellan's wife Jessa, and the IRS. Then I sat back and waited. Thursday brought fireworks. Kellan's dealership got raided by state investigators. Jessa Varron filed for divorce and froze all their joint accounts. And Lana got suspended from her law firm pending an ethics investigation. Apparently, someone had sent them evidence of her affair with a client under investigation. I was replacing a kitchen faucet for Mrs. Henderson when my phone rang. It was Sierra Walsh, Lana's best friend and fellow attorney. Brooks, we need to meet. There's something you need to know about Lana. We met at Murphy's bar that evening. Sierra looked nervous, constantly checking over her shoulder. I should have told you months ago, she began. She's been sabotaging your business, calling your clients, spreading rumors, working with Kellan to undercut your bids. My grip tightened on my beer bottle. How long? 6 months, maybe more. She said you were holding her back, that she deserved better than being married to a contractor. She wanted out, but she wanted to make sure she got everything in the settlement. So she decided to ruin me first. Sierra nodded miserably. I told her it was wrong, but she wouldn't listen. She said you'd never figure it out, that you weren't smart enough. Anything else? She's been recording your conversations, has cameras hidden in the house. She's building a case to prove you're unstable, maybe even dangerous. I thanked Sierra and went home to an empty house. Lana was working late again, which probably meant she was with Kellan, planning their next move. But I had moves of my own. I found the cameras, 3 of them, cleverly hidden, but not cleverly enough. I left them in place, but made sure to act normally around them. Then, I installed a few cameras of my own, in places she'd never think to look. Friday morning, I got the break I'd been waiting for. Lana thought I was at a job site, but I'd doubled back to grab some tools I'd forgotten. I watched from my truck as she let herself into my workshop with a spare key I didn't know she had. She was inside for 10 minutes. When she left, she looked satisfied. I waited until she was gone, then checked my workshop. She'd planted a USB drive in my desk drawer, poorly hidden where someone would find it during a search. I plugged it into an old laptop I kept for parts. It contained fabricated evidence of bid rigging and contractor fraud, all pointing to me. But thanks to my new camera system, I had video of her planting it. Game, set, match. The Millfield County Courthouse held property auctions the first Saturday of every month. This particular Saturday, Lot 17 was a half interest in 247 Maple Street, my house, being sold to satisfy Lana's mounting legal debts. I arrived early and took a seat in the front row. The auctioneer, a thin man named Paulson, looked bored as he rattled through the preliminaries. A decent crowd had gathered. Property auctions were entertainment in a town like Millfield. Lana showed up 10 minutes before the bidding started, Kellan beside her like a guard dog. She looked haggard, her usual perfect appearance cracked around the edges. The suspension from her law firm had hit hard, and Kellan's legal troubles weren't helping her case. Lot 17, Paulson announced. Half interest in residential property, 247 Maple Street. Do I hear 5,000? I raised my hand. 5,000. Lana spun around, fury blazing in her eyes. 6,000, she called out. 7, I countered. 10,000, Kellan said, standing up. I smiled at him. 15. The bidding continued, climbing higher. Other bidders dropped out as the price rose beyond the property's actual value. Finally, it was just me and Kellan, with Lana whispering frantically in his ear. 25,000, Kellan said. 30, I replied calmly. Kellan hesitated. His assets were frozen, his credit destroyed. He was bidding with money he didn't have. Going once, Paulson said. Going twice. 35, Kellan shouted. I stood up slowly. 40,000. Cash. The room went silent. Kellan's face turned purple. Lana looked like she might be sick. Sold to Mr. Merrick for $40,000. As the crowd began to disperse, I walked over to where Lana and Kellan sat in stunned silence. Funny how things work out, I said conversationally. By the way, Lana, I found that USB drive you planted in my workshop. Amazing what people will do when they think nobody's watching. I pulled out my phone and played the video. Crystal clear footage of her sneaking into my workshop and hiding the fabricated evidence. You recorded me, she whispered. I learned from the best. Oh, and Kellan? Your wife Jessa says hello. We've been having the most interesting conversations about your business practices. Turns out she's been keeping records of her own. Kellan lunged at me, but I stepped aside, letting him stumble into a folding chair. He went down hard, cursing and flailing. That's assault, Lana shrieked. Everyone saw it. I looked around at the crowd, many of whom were recording with their phones. I saw a man trip over his own feet. Anyone see anything different? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. In a small town, reputation matters, and mine was looking pretty good compared to theirs. Lana stood up, shaking with rage. You think you've won? You think this is over? You're a monster, Brooks Merrick. I looked at her, really looked at her, for what I knew would be the last time. The woman I'd loved, who'd shared my bed and my dreams, who'd plotted behind my back to destroy everything I'd worked for. No, Lana, I said quietly. I'm not a monster. I'm just playing by your rules. I walked out of the courthouse into the bright afternoon sun, leaving them behind with their schemes and their shame and their ruined lives. In my pocket, the deed to my house crinkled as I climbed into my truck. Sometimes the good guys win after all,